What is 종이랑 개냐? What happened?
Hi everyone!
Today we will be presenting a potential solution to one of the most severe challenges that the Earth is facing today.
Over the last 100 years, our planet has experienced many environmental problems caused by mankind.
Most of these issues were quite serious, challenging humankind to react and correct their behavior to improve or eliminate the situation.
Our history shows that once environmental problems and their causes are recognized, humans have risen to the challenge and corrected the situations in most cases. Can you give us an example, please?
Sure. The most recent successful example in which the Earth was facing serious consequences concerning all life on this planet was the ozone crisis. During most of the 20th century, the use and release of chlorofluorocarbons as refrigerants into the atmosphere severely damaged the ozone layer. In the early 1980s, scientific data confirmed that a large hole in our ozone had formed and was growing by the day.
Oh, I remember now. This was recognized as a very serious problem as all life on Earth requires protection from UV radiation coming from the sun. Many countries agreed that CFCs should no longer be used and the CFCs currently being used should be collected and destroyed.
This relatively quick action has resulted in reversing the damage done to the ozone layer, and it is now predicted that the ozone layer will make a complete recovery in the near future. This is a great example of how humans can work together to keep the Earth safe and healthy.
Aha!
Well, the ozone saga is a great success story, but the Earth is facing even greater challenges today. What is it, Dan?
The most serious environmental problem in our ecosystem today is the large amount of plastic being created and disposed of into the ocean.
Right, the gathering of plastic waste in the ocean has resulted in plastic islands that have negatively affected both marine plants, especially phytoplankton and animals, by increasing the chance of disease and preventing phytoplankton from taking in carbon dioxide and producing oxygen. Can you tell us more about the ocean, Dan?
Sure, the ecosystem's diversity and stability are linked closely to the amount of pollution in the ocean. The oceans stretch across the globe and are home to over 225,000 known species, with many more that have not been discovered yet, making it the largest ecosystem in the world. The increasing amount of plastic in the ocean have proved to be a hazard to both the organisms living inside and outside the ocean.
It really is too bad. Moreover, every year, more than 8 million tons of plastic are disposed of into the ocean, which has created plastic islands totaling up to about 8 million square kilometers, almost 11 times as large as Texas in the Earth's oceans. Currently, there are almost 300,000 tons of plastic in the ocean. These plastics come in all forms, shapes, and sizes, from large pieces of plastic like fishing nets and microplastics from broken down waste.
It's okay though, or it's not lost. In order to stop the plastic pollution, people should clean the ocean that is filled with plastics that are already disposed of, rather than stopping the production of new plastics. Although finding alternative to plastic will reduce its use in the future, the current environmental issue can be best addressed by making efforts to get rid of the plastics that are already in the oceans.
We can contribute to the preservation of the ecosystem by creating a non-profit organization and raising money to build large ships that are capable of collecting, drying, and burning plastic, as well as filtering out the harmful components of the resulting gas using scrubbing on board. The phytoplankton will take in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and multiply on its own very quickly.
Oh, Hyunjin! Can you show us the boat?
Of course!
Woo!
The ship that reacts as a lifeboat for our ecosystem will look something like this. With the main components being the moving conveyor belt to put trash, mild heat to dry the waste, a burner to burn all of the plastic waste, and multiple scrubbers to filter out the toxic acid and base gases. The only thing released from the reaction will be water and carbon dioxide, which the phytoplankton in the ocean will use to produce oxygen and multiply in the clear waters left behind.
But remember, to realistically create our plastic removing ships, we first need to find enough investors and raise enough money to start building the ship. We will also need to find a skilled team of engineers, ecologists, chemists, application chemists, and biologists to look over our goals and tentative model and improve upon it to make the most efficient an ecosystem-compatible plastic disposing ship possible.
Yes!
Phytoplankton! Phytoplankton is very important. Hyunjin, do you know what releases the largest amount of oxygen into the atmosphere? It is the phytoplankton in the ocean.
What do you mean? Don't trees make the majority of oxygen in the atmosphere?
No, these tiny microorganisms living in the surface layers of the ocean create about 70 to 80% of oxygen in the atmosphere. However, phytoplankton cannot grow and produce oxygen because about 8 million square kilometers of the ocean surface is filled with plastic islands. If those plastic islands are removed from the ocean, phytoplankton would quickly reproduce and reoccupy these areas, restoring the ocean to the state that it should be in.
Oh, okay. I now see why we need to feed the phytoplankton.
Good!
Well, let's just go over the process of each part of the boat.
The first step of reducing the plastic in the ocean is collecting the plastic. The method we thought would work best was the conveyor belt method, which would function as an escalator for the trash. The escalator would be positioned to be slightly below the water so that the trash that flowed a bit below the surface would be picked up as well and dropped into a container inside the ship. The escalator would be located at the front of the ship, and on either side would be the boat's walls to guide the trash into the central escalator.
The second step would be drying the plastics. As mentioned before, all of the trash would be placed into a container with a large surface area inside the ship, and using heat to dry the plastics in order to burn the plastic with less intense heat. Heaters would be located on all four sides of the container, and the conveyor belt would move the waste forward slowly, allowing all of the plastic to fully dry.
The conveyor belt will import the waste into the furnaces, which will burn all of the plastics at a temperature of 225 degrees Celsius. The final step of the plastic destroying process would be to filter the poisonous gases using scrubbers, which Faith and Gunnar will explain.
God, what are you doing? Turn off the fire!
Sorry.
Speaking of fire, do you remember what the scrubbers will do?
Shoot, I forgot.
The scrubbers will play a very important part in disposing of the toxic gases that are produced when plastics are burned. These toxic gases include dioxins, furans, and polychlorinated biphenyls, all of which can have a negative impact on our immune and nervous systems, as well as cause issues in growth development. However, secondary burners containing catalysts would eliminate most or virtually all of these toxic gases. There would be some toxic gases, mainly nitrogen-based, that would require removal via scrubbers. The scrubbers would filter out any nitrogen and possibly sulfur-based gases, mainly oxides, which would be toxic to our environment. After all of the particulate and toxic gases are removed, the only gases that would be released into the environment would be carbon dioxide and water vapor.
Oh, I remember now. Releasing carbon dioxide will not be as harmful as people think because the amount of carbon dioxide that burning all of the plastic waste in the ocean would produce is only 0.861% of the carbon dioxide. Wait, this is not 0.861%, it is 0.8%. And this is the equation for this product. Sorry! Produced daily from automobiles, trucks, semis, airplanes, trains, and coal-burning power plants. More importantly, phytoplankton missing from our ecosystem now due to the plastic islands will quickly repopulate in these areas, consuming much more CO2 than produced by burning the plastics and of course, releasing more oxygen.
Exactly!
Well, that was it for our ship. Currently, plastic pollution has been proven to be one of the most important environmental problems. However, if we are able to collect enough funding and assemble a knowledgeable team of advisors and scientific and engineering experts, we will be able to create ships capable of clearing the oceans of plastic pollution so that in the near future, the oceans will contain no lands of plastic.
With the plastic cleared, the number of phytoplankton will be able to grow along with the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere, and all marine and land animals as well as humans will be able to exist without having to worry about plastic pollution or lack of resources.
Thank you, and
This was Team Platinum for you!
Woo!